saying she'll pay them back, saying she needs help with her rent, saying she needs help with this and that, but she's not paying it back. So that's what we're dealing with tonight. So we're gonna go ahead and get a conversation going on with Irish. All right, so I'm gonna switch to a panel and let's talk about it. Okay.
Y'all know my name is not Henry. Y'all being funny. Come on. Henry. You believe. Yes.
Case tonight. I'm not going to dress as the judge because we're going to only have one party. I'm going to magistrate this. So basically, I'm going to bring up a lovely lady by the name of Irish, okay? Oh, that's why she didn't do the interview? That's probably why. In the interim, Lana, can you send me a picture of the People's Court or Empress Conversation flyer to not the back cave, but to the main phone, please? So we're gonna have a conversation, you guys, with the lovely Miss Irish. She tried to help somebody on the app, and basically this person came to her saying that thank you, Mushy, that they needed some assistance, they needed some funding, they needed some money, they needed money because of they were just having some difficulties with bills or whatnot. And she said, okay, let's do it. Let me go ahead and take care of you. And once she promised that she was going to give this young lady funding, she was like, hey, give me the money. We're going to give the money. Yes, court. It's going to be more of a court conversation, Deanna. So she asked for the money. The girl kept asking the girl for the money. She was like, okay, I'm going to give it to you. It's not like I owe you. I'm just going to help you. But in any event, she helped the lady, and then she found out that one of her closest friends helped her on the side as well. And they've been waiting on this payment. And again, here today, it's not the amount of money that was given or loaned out, but it's the principle, the fact that when you were in need, we came to your aid and we assisted you in what you deemed was yourself being honest and keeping it real on what you wanted to do with the funding and what you needed the funding for. But in the interim, it found out that you weren't paying anybody back. You had no intentions to. Yes, if you're out of some dragons, you can actually summons the court. You were scammed. Absolutely you can. All right, so we're going to go ahead and bring up the lovely Miss Irish so you guys can meet her. And we're going to talk about this. All right, so basically, we're going to name this case, I helped you and you scammed me. Hey, Hazel. All right. So let's go ahead and bring up Hazel. I'm sorry. Bring up Irish. Irish, go ahead and hit the join box. Irish is here.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you, Gang Weezy. So, number one, Iris has really been adamant about getting me ready and up to date to try to get her to this court case because I was totally out of it, and I appreciate her for giving me that boost to actually get up. And I finally got up. Took me a couple of hours, but I got up. All right. So before we start, Iris, are you gonna stay calm down? Is that okay? Is that how we're doing it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And go ahead and raise your right hand and say you do solemnly swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth. So help you, God.
I do.
Okay. All right, so let's get into it. I don't know why Mushy gifting so much. All right, so let's talk about it. So you're a host on the app.
Yes.
Okay. How long have you been a host on the app?
This is my 7th month.
Okay. All right. So in all your 7 months, basically, what are some of the normal things you did as a host?
I'm a motivational speaker. I talk about my past addiction and how I overcame it. And I try to give awareness to other people. I also play games, different fun stuff that I do. But I try to keep my name as good as it can be in the streets of Pico. I don't like to owe anybody, and that's the way I like to keep it.
Okay, perfect. All right, now, do you have any family that you're in or an agency that you're in?
Yes, I'm in Dead Presidents Agency, and I'm a founder of the OG Mobsters.
The OG Mobsters.
Families 3 months ago. Yeah.
All right. And do you normally do PKs and different things like that as a host?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what are some of the ups and downs you faced on this app as a host?
A lot of bullying, I can say that, because of what I've spoken about. They like to use it against you. You know, certain things that I've talked about, you know, my struggles and everything with addiction and how I overcame it. And so a lot of bullying comes into play, sadly, on this app. You know, a lot of that. But other than that, everything seems to be going well.
Okay, so you're basically saying because you relinquished the fact that you had an addiction, people come for it.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you mind sharing a little bit about that addiction with us?
Absolutely. I was in addiction for 10 years. It started when I was about 18. Just with weed and stuff, it didn't get harder until about 25. Started using pain pills. And that led to, it got worse. It got into heroin and then fentanyl. That's where I hit rock bottom. It went from snorting into intravenous use. And because of that, that's where I hit rock bottom. And, you know, I've been in and out of rehabs, in and out of jail, in and out of prison. I've been locked up 21 times. I've been to prison 3. So with that being said, sorry, I'm a little nervous. With that being said, you know, I've overcame it, and I'm going on 5 years clean and sober of all substances. The only problem I have is cigarettes, which I hate, but I'm working on that. Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, you have a story in itself. I mean,
yeah.
You have a big story that we can really open wide up. Yeah, don't be afraid. Yeah, the women in here, so the women that are in here, Iris, are beautiful girls. Yeah. They come here for deep stories. They come in here to support women. They come in here because of what's right. Because they know they come in my room for a story, we're going to get down to the bottom and we're going to try to basically express what's right. So you be okay in here. Don't be nervous. Okay?
Okay.
Everybody had an addiction of some sort.
Right. That's right.
Oh, and we have a guy. Thank you. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick. But yeah, I struggled with a lot of that. So I was in and out of jail, in and out of prison. So when the coronavirus started, that's when I had just became on Bigo. I started as a gifter, and somebody had told me, they're like, you have a great energy. You've got you're just such a sweetheart. You should become a host. And I was like, I don't know. They're like, no, you'll do great. So I became a host, and sadly, the month that I started getting really bad back pain. And I was in the bed a lot. And one day I couldn't use the bathroom, and I knew something was wrong. So I went to the hospital, and I had a infection in my spine, in my pelvis, and I had to have emergency surgery. I also had pneumonia. I had a clot in my left lung. I was very sick. And so I had to have surgery. And the reason that I needed it, now mind you, I was clean and everything else, because this was almost over a year ago that this had happened. So I asked the doctors, what happened? They said that it was due to drug use. And if you use intravenous drug use, the bacteria in the water, like tap water or anything like that, gets into your bloodstream, and it can cause an infection, and the infection was in my spine. So
Relax. Hold on, princess. Calm down. We're going to give her a moment. It's okay, beautiful.
No.
It's okay.
So, they just told me that, I was going to be in the hospital for a while. Because I needed a PICC line that went to my heart for, to take away the infection. So I had to have emergency surgery. I had a wonderful surgeon. He reminded me of God. Like, he had these big hands and stuff. And he promised me that I would have a good life, that I would make it out of it, and I would be okay. So I had the emergency surgery, and I had to learn how to walk again. I had to go to a nursing home for 6 months, and I had to be, like I said, with a PICC line for 6 months. And I wanted to leave, but I knew that I had to stay because they told me if I did leave, the infection would come back, and I probably would die from it. And I also have a bone condition. It's a rare bone condition. It's called osteomyelitis. So I have to live with that for the rest of my life due to drugs.
Bless you. Bless you, Iris. So, Iris, I think you were probably meant to come up and tell your story tonight and not what we really intended on talking about.
I believe so too.
So with that, I think we're going to switch it up a little bit.
Okay.
And this is your interview.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, it's another reason tonight, y'all. So this is, we're no longer going to do a speedy trial. This is going to be about Iris. Everyone go ahead and bless her for me, please. Let's give her some gifts while I change the title. And, yeah, I got chills too, Miss Butterfly. And we're going to go ahead and basically talk to her about her life. Okay? Where she started from and where she's at today and where she's going. So let's make her know that she got a lot of girls over here that love her. Let's run up box number 1, please. She's going to tell us her story. Okay? Are you okay with that, Iris?
Yes, I am.
All right. All right. So, it is now Conversation with Empress. Thank you, guys. Let's go ahead and get her some gifts. She's a host, you guys. Let's get her on up. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Let's run her up, get her where she needs to be. And this is going to be deep. I already see it, you guys. And she's probably haven't spoken about this. Have you told anybody your story yet, Iris?
No, not fully, no.
So she's blessing us tonight, y'all. She's blessing us. So throughout the night, you guys are probably going to be captivated by her story. But let's always remember to just gift her, all right? So we can motivate her and keep her going, okay? So thank you, guys. I'll go ahead and let you. Thank you, Aries, love. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you, guys. All right. So after we're done interviewing her, if she doesn't mind, we'll let you ask her a few questions. And we'll go on, okay?
Yep.
So, Iris, welcome. Welcome, my love. Let me first say, I remember my first time meeting you. You started coming around my room about 3 months ago and, just showing me love. And ever since then, we've been okay. I'll go to your room, you'll come to mine, and vice versa. Never thought that it would end up this way, but I feel as though every woman that crossed my path or I crossed yours, it's a reason for that. Okay? All right. So first, please tell us about young Irish, that little girl with the pigtails and the cute little dress. Young Irish.
Okay, well, I was born in Manhattan, New York. I was raised in the Bronx. I had a wonderful mother that raised me. I had a father, but he wasn't around a lot, so my mother was a real estate agent. Oh, sorry, guys. And she was a real estate agent, and she did what she could for me and my brother. I have a brother. He is 15 months apart from me. We're Irish, what they call is Irish twins. And we lived a great life. We moved upstate because my mom wanted to move us out of the city. And we moved upstate to Rochester. And we stayed there in a nice, beautiful home. It was a 3-story house. My father was a plumber. And my mother was a stay-at-home mother. And then, of course, she was a real estate agent before that. But she liked to stay home with us. So my dad would work, and he was barely home. And one day we went to walk to the store right after school, and there was a car that came at us when we were at the store. It kind of tried to hit me and my brother. And my mother noticed her, and it was a woman that she used to go to school with. And the woman was screaming out the window, talking about my father. So I was too young to understand what was going on at the time. But what I'm guessing was that my father was cheating on my mother and was hiding it from my mom. So, my mother one day just said, we're going to pack up and we're going to leave. We're going to go to Florida with your grandmother. So my grandmother lived in Florida, so we packed up, and I just remember my father coming by all the time trying to, see us, but he would come in the middle of the night and, sit out in the parking lot and stuff like that, and my mother would refuse for him to come to the house. They were going to court, and she wanted full custody of both of us, which she won. And when she won full custody, we moved to Florida, and that was when I was about 13.
So how do you feel about your mother taking you from your dad?
It kind of hurt my feelings, to be honest. I was so young at the time that I didn't really understand it. And I kind of held a grudge against her for that. I held a grudge, definitely. But we were already in Florida, so I had to make the best of it. And, my mom just assured us that we would be taken care of. And, she had to go back to work. And we stayed with our grandmother until she could get a place, which she had found a place. And I had, my grandfather died when she was young, but had left money for, a huge savings, a type of money. And it was supposed to be somewhat of mine and my brother's, but she took it and paid for the house.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So now you're in Florida, you're a young girl, you're going to school. Any bullying or anything like that?
Well, I was a bigger girl, so I had gotten made fun of a lot. And I think I started getting in trouble, like skipping school, and because of the bullying. And, it was hard when we first moved to Florida because, at first we were staying with my grandma. Then when we got the house, it was like we had to take 1-minute showers and, because she couldn't afford anything. It was like we were on the balls of our ass, is what my mother would say, a New York term. So, we had to make it what it was. So, yeah, I definitely held a grudge for a long time.
So basically your mom took you away from your dad and your life changed. You went from a comfortable home in New York to living in your grandmother's house in Florida, and then to a smaller apartment to where you guys could barely afford anything.
Right. Yeah.
And being bullied. You were being bullied at school.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
So, the bullying was starting and everything, so I just started skipping school. And I for some reason, I liked boys really early on. And, you know, I didn't like, you know, doing anything sexual with them. I just, you know, I guess I wanted that affection from a man. That's what I know now. But, no, I just would like kiss boys and hang out.
You say that the fact that mom took dad out of your life, you wanted a man's affection.
Right. Yep, absolutely. So, you know, I was skipping school and stuff, and, you know, she got a call from the school one day, and she asked me, she said, "What are you doing? You're not even going to school, blah, 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 blah." And I said, "Well, I'm going to school." You know, I was just lying. She's like, "Well, if I find out," you know, she never hit us or anything, because my mom, coming into this, she also had an alcohol problem. So, you know, when we got to Florida, it got worse. Like, my mom would just drink occasionally, but when we got to Florida, her drinking progressed. So it was like she was drinking a lot. Even my grandmother, I remember my grandmother saying, "Audrey, you need to let go of the beer." But my mom always loved her beer. So, you know, I didn't really think anything of it. But there were nights where, you know, my mom would pass out drunk and piss on herself. I had to help her up. So there's a lot of that.
So as a young girl, you're seeing mom pass out on the floor. What is going through your mind?
Well, a lot of things, like a lot of thoughts went through my mind. Is that why my dad left? Like, was it a lie? Like, I didn't know the truth. So, I mean, I knew that he wasn't ever around, and I know that I would never think my mom would find me. So, you know, I just wanted to help my mom. You know, I was just like, maybe she's just sad. That's what I thought. Maybe she's just sad. There were times that me and my brother would just like hug each other and like just pray for the best. So, yeah, it was hard.
Did you ever ask mom why she drank so much?
Yeah, but she would just say, "Well, I'm not drinking a lot. It's just I have a beer here and there." And then she'd be like, "You're too young to ask me these type of questions." You know, just try to shrug me off. But even my grandmother would fight with her about it, you know, and I would hear it. You know, her on the phone sometimes, you know, my grandmother would call, like, "What are you doing? You know, why are you drinking like this?" And I'm just drinking after work. And, you know, that's what I thought it was just, you know, her just drinking after work and sometimes, you know, blacking out. I didn't know what to think of it at the time, to be honest.
And like the comment said, do you think she was covering up the fact that she was in pain, or maybe she was suffering, and maybe because the money was coming, just a lot of anxiety sudden?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so now, did mom ever give you kisses and tell you she loved you before you guys got to Florida?
Absolutely. I remember that I think it was like the night before we left, she hugged me, my brother, and we had just gotten out of the pool, and we were all like, you know how you get in the shower after you get in the pool, you know, with your clothes on, but my mom would come in and just like, you know, come in and help us, you know, wash off or whatever. I remember when I had gotten out, my brother was getting dressed, I got out, she hugged us, like both of us, and hugged us like a 3 hug, and was like, "It's gonna be us forever." She was a good mom. She tried.
And her making that change changed your life forever.
Yeah.
So after the beer started, how many hugs and we're gonna be us forever? How much of that did you get?
Not much anymore. It was kind of like that was the only time that I can remember.
So now you're at school and you started getting affection from young men, from boys.
Yep.
Right. Go ahead and tell us about that.
So, you know, I would skip school and stuff, and I remember that he introduced me to weed. This one guy, his name was Alex. I'll never forget his name. And he used to always like walk with me and talk with me, and he would be like, "Are you okay?" Like he was really nice, like a nice guy. He just, all he would do is hug and kiss. It was just very like innocent, and he didn't have a father either. So we would talk a lot. But he introduced me to weed. So I started smoking weed at like 14 years old. So, and I started smoking cigarettes.
Alex introduced you to weed.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He's like, this helps me, with my anxiety and stuff. And I didn't know what like anxiety was. I was only freaking 14 years old. I didn't know what anxiety, what the fuck is that, So I just remember smoking it, and I was like, all right, it's a good feeling. So I literally would skip school all the time. Like I was never in school. So I remember I was coming home one day, and I was walking home, and my mom was waiting at the window. We have like a bay window. So my mom was standing at the bay window, and I was walking up, and I was noticing, like, why is she standing there? And so when I walked in the door, she says, "How was school?" And I said, "Good." And she just grabbed me by my hair, dragged me in the room, and she started like smacking me, which she's never done ever. Like I said, she never really put her hands on me. So I would fight her back, and my mom's like, we call this, it's like a shillelagh stick. It's from Ireland, and it's like a really hard like stick, but it's like hard as a brick. And I remember she knocked me in the shin with it, and I still got a scar from it. Like I'll never forget that day. So she noticed that I started, getting older. Like, damn, she started to fight me back. Like, there's a problem here. So my mom put me into what they call as an alternative school. So it was kind of like a private school, but it's alternative. So I had to start wearing like, uniforms and stuff. So I had to start going to that school.
So let me ask you a question. Now, Mom never really put her hands on you, but right. Once she started hitting you, you started fighting her back?
Yeah. And I think it was just because like all the anger was built up, and because she kept going, and I wasn't really like biting her. I was just kind of like pushing her off me, and she was like, "Oh, you're gonna put your hands on me, then I'm gonna get the shillelagh stick." So it just kind of, she couldn't believe that I was like pushing her back, like, so she knew there was something going on with me. Like, damn, there's something going on with my daughter. Like, something's up, just acting up.
So she puts you in a school. What type of school was it?
Alternative school. It's like a private school, but it's like alternative. That's what they call it down here in Florida, like an alternative school, like to where it's like, there's smaller classrooms where, I could get more attention for school. Because one thing about me, she always wanted me to go to college. One thing she always told me is you always need an education. She always told me that. Like, you need an education, no matter what.
That's good.
So, yeah, for bad kids, yeah, retail bag, yeah.
All right. So now remember, she got expelled from public school as well, guys, because she was skipping school every day.
Yep.
And remember the first young man, Alex. Was it Alex you said?
Yeah, Alex. Mm-hmm.
Alex introduced her to ganja. Remember, she got her first whiff of ganja. Miss Mila, you don't belong around here, Miss Mila. Let me see why Miss Mila's over here. Alex introduced her to ganja, right?
Right, because I was
first with. Go ahead.
Yeah, so he introduced me to that. So once I got expelled, I started going to the school, and the alternative school, we wore our uniforms and stuff, and there was like not even more than 15 people in the classrooms. And I'll never forget what do you call that? The principal, sorry guys. The principal, his name was Mr. Suarez. He was the nicest guy in the world. And he was Spanish. He was a sweetheart. I'll just never forget he was just amazing. So it kind of made me want to be there because he was nice. He was very welcoming. The girls were a little bit more nicer. I recognized some girls that also got expelled the same time around me. And also there's two girls that lived down the street from me. That started going to that school as well because they were getting in trouble too. So now I started hanging out with those two girls down the street from me, which I still live in the same house to this day. 15 years later, I still live in the same house because I had to move back with my mom after the surgery, but we'll get there. But, yeah. So they live down the street, so I started hanging out with them in class. And everybody at that school smoked weed. They did triple C's. It's like pills that make you, I know a lot of people probably know what I'm talking about in the comments. But, so yeah, so it started. My mom always told me, you're going to get locked up the way you're acting. Like, she just told me, like, I'm going to get you in this school. So when I was in the school, I just started hanging out with the bad crowd, the ones that smoked weed, because remember, Alex introduced me to the weed. So I wanted more. I wanted to,
The cool kids.
The cool kid, right. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to hang out with the cool kids.
So basically, were there any metal detectors or anything like that at the school?
No, there wasn't. Nope. They didn't look through your book bags or nothing like that. So this was kind of like indictment said, this was even a worse school. You would think it was nicer, but it was worse. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. So you're basically still skipping school there too.
Right, basically, I'm high the whole time in class, and then, we would have a lunch break. We would have like an hour lunch break. It was just very, very easy going there. It's just easy going. And yeah, I just loved it there. I was like, man, okay, I can deal with this.
Mm-hmm.
So mom started noticing I'm staying in school, so she was happy.
All right, so now you're skipping school every day. You're on the weed. So let's fast forward to a new drug you were introduced to now.
Yeah. So while I was in the school, there was a couple kids that did like Xanax, the triple C's. The name was Roxy's back then. They were like in Florida. It's the biggest pill industry in the United States. Like pills were really, really rapid back then. We're talking 2008, 2009. So a lot of people had them. And so, kids would snort them in the bathroom, stuff like that. So there was this girl, Amanda, that introduced me to the Xanax and the Roxy. So, with an opiate, if you're using them, every other day or every day, your body's going to get to where you get addicted, like off rip. So, we got to remind you, I'm almost, 16 years old around this time. So, I'm getting a little bit older and, went from weed to the triple C's and the Xanax and the Roxys. So, I was nodding off in class and, I don't even know how I barely even stayed awake in those classes, to be honest with you. So, I winded up meeting with these two girls, the two girls that I'm telling you that live down the street from me. They introduced me to Mexican guys. And these Mexican guys, they lived not too far from where we live. So what we would do is we would take the bus, and after school, take the bus. I just tell my mom, I'm going down the street with, Trish and Chris. That was their name, Trish and Chris. And my mom didn't really think anything of it because I'm going to school. So she's like, all right, go ahead. She didn't really think anything of it. So, mind you, I'm 15, 16. We're going to meet these Mexican guys. And so we go to meet these Mexican guys. And, of course, they had alcohol, Coke. They had the pills that I was telling you guys about. They could get anything because, these Mexicans are like straight cartel. Like, what they called it, Sureños.
That's dangerous.
Dangerous, very dangerous. So I started hanging out with them. And I liked this guy named Raul. And we started, of course, remember, I liked affection from a man. That's what I was searching for, is a man to, tell me I'm pretty and all this other, because, I was bullied in the other school. Like, I was fat, I was ugly, and, they would just make fun of me. So he made me feel safe.
So Raul is one of the Mexican guys that was a cartel.
Right, part of the cartel. Yeah.
All right, so by age 14, you was on weed.
Mm-hmm.
By age 16, you're now on weed and Xanax.
Yep, and Roxy's.
And Roxy.
Yes.
Okay, so now you meet the cartel that has the whole shebang. He got Roxy, Xanax, weed, coke, this, that. He has a whole big alcohol. He has it all.
Yep, absolutely.
You started dating one of them.
Yes, because I'm like, well, he likes me and he's got all the goodies, so why not, right? So the two girls,
talk about him liking you and the goodies. Let's go.
Okay, so these two girls, mind you, they've already had sex, okay? But I was scared. I really didn't want to have sex. I was afraid. For some reason, I was just scared when I was the prude one in the crowd. So they were like, really, what the fuck, you need to get it. You're going to like it, just one time it's going to hurt and then it'll get easier. Like, these girls were just whores until this day. Sadly, still in addiction. But anyway, so I just, it was like every night. And then I started getting in trouble because now I'm spending more time with Raul. So I'm barely home. And I just remember one night I came home real late. And my mom had woken me up on the couch because I had fell asleep on the couch, passed out from all this shit. So my mom said, what's going on with you? Is this school really what I think it is? What's up with these two girls? I've noticed you've been hanging out with them, and I seen this guy drop you off because Raul used to drop me off at the house, down the street. But my mom knows everything. Like, my mom don't miss a beat. So she was like, I've noticed this guy, coming around and, what's going on with that? And I'm like, well, nothing, Mom. He's a nice guy. My mom's like, are you kidding me? You're 16 years old. I want to know who this guy is. You need to show me where. Like, my mom really wanted to know what he is, but I would never tell her. I just assure her that I wouldn't see him again.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, go ahead.
So, when did Raul introduce you to another drug?
Well, Raul wasn't the one that introduced me to the Roxy's. Well, he's the one that introduced me to the Roxy's, but the heroin came much later in life. So what happened was, I'm going to go ahead and sum it up for you. So Raul, I really liked him. Like, I really did. So one day, I was 17, and I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to, go ahead and lose my virginity. And I've already been with Raul going on, 8-9 months. So I'm thinking, he's, even though he's got all these goodies and stuff, he treats me good, right? So I'm thinking I was going to go ahead and might as well lose my virginity. Plus, I've got all this peer pressure from the two girls, right? So one night, I took my mom's car. This is the night I lost my virginity. So my mom was passed out drunk. I took her car, because she usually left her car keys on the table in the kitchen. So I took her car keys, and I picked up the two girls down the street. They snuck out their window. They were like, damn, you got your mama's car. I was always the one stealing mama's car. So I went and picked them up because they wanted to go party, of course. So we went over there. I parked over there, went inside the apartment. We hung out, and that's when me and him went in the room. Of course, we were high, off the pills, the drink, just, having fun, thinking, he was the man, right? So we did it, and it hurt, but he was trying to be as nice as possible. So there we go. I lost my virginity. Now we didn't use a condom. So me being stupid and young and high, I'm not even thinking of the consequences, right? So I'm still seeing him. My mom started noticing that her car, one night she noticed that her car was gone. She noticed that the gas was really down. So she came in my room. She said, so you're taking my car. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. So I called Raul because she started hitting me again. And she was drunk because she started slowing down on the alcohol. She would only drink every other night, but it was still bad. Yeah, Mom was on it. So she started slowing down because, remember, she's a real estate agent. She can't really drink like that. So I think it was just, in the beginning when we got to Florida, it was very hard on her. So she always liked her alcohol, but it never got to that extent. So once I started doing good in school and all that other good stuff, she got a little bit better. Now she's clean and focused. She hasn't had a drink in 6 years. So she's doing great. But yeah, so I went ahead and called Raul, and I said, pick me up. I'm just going to go ahead and live with you. So he had picked me up. My mom chased me in the car because I ran to this backfield, which is right down the street. We call it the backfield. It's this big field in the backyard where they have this little park. So I went ahead and hid behind a couple bushes. She went back there to try to find me. She went up and down the roads trying to find me, screaming my name, get back in this car. You're not going anywhere. You're only 17 years old. Like, my mom was honest. So I had to run all the way up the street to the laundry room. They had this little laundry room and stuff like that up across the street. It's this little laundry place and stuff. It's open 24 hours. So I ran up there and I waited for him. And so, I waited and he came to pick me up. My mom didn't notice that I had went to the laundry place because she wouldn't think I ran all that far. So he picks me up and we went back to his apartment, and you might as well say I became this Mexican at home baby mama, you might as well say, because soon to find out I'm pregnant. So I'm 17. I find out I'm pregnant. I dropped out of school. Dropped out of the alternative school. I'm barely contacting my mother. And, she was heartbroken. I would call her and she'd be crying, why are you doing this? I'm like, look, this is the life I want. I really love him. I love Raul. And she didn't like it. She didn't want it to happen, but what could she do? My daughter's already dropped out. She's got her baby at home, my brother, 15 months apart. She's got my brother to take care of. So she's just like, I want to know where you are. She would come visit the apartment, and, I'm pregnant now. So it's a whole nother scenario. She's like, I'm not going to be a part of this. I will not be a part of it. When you have the baby, I will not be there. So it was started to become a hatred between me and her because of that. I felt abandoned, to be honest. She's like, there's nothing I could do for you. I've tried everything. Now you're out with this guy. Now you're pregnant. You're only 17. How are you going to take care of this baby? You quit school, and all I told you is I wanted an education for you. I moved you down here because I wanted you, I wanted us to have a better life. And this is what you do.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So, and I used to, after that, I started calling my real father in New York because I looked up his number, phone book wise, because he was a plumber. He owned his own plumbing business. So I was calling him from then on every year. And he finally reached me a few years later than that. So I'll get to that. But so I'm pregnant with Raul at his apartment. And I'm wanting to have the baby, and I'm in love with this man. I'd do anything for him. So that's where we're at.
All right. So now we're living with Raul. We have the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Is your mother there?
So 9 months later, I had the baby. My mom came. My mom did come to the hospital to see the baby born. And she had met Raul. She had met him a couple times. She didn't meet him face to face, but over the phone, with the phone conversations, because I always kept up with my mom. I always called her, always would leave messages, and I let her know, how the baby was doing and everything. So yeah, we're at the hospital, and she's right there on my side, holding my hand the whole time through it. Mm-hmm. And I had a beautiful baby girl. Her name was Faith. We were doing great. We moved in with his family because we wanted a bigger house, like a bigger room and stuff. So we moved in with his family, his brother and sister. We moved in with his brother and sister in a nice place, and we had the baby there, and everything was great. It was wonderful.
All right, so Faith is here. You're living with his family. So what started happening with you spiraling, though? Like, the baby is here. Like, everything stays so peaches and cream. So when and why did the spiral take place?
Well, you got to remember, I met Raul with the whole drug situation. So he had stopped everything. When I found out I was pregnant, I had stopped everything. So we both gave it up. He would drink sometimes, but he wouldn't get bad. So he had gave up everything. He was working. He was doing great for the family and everything. So long story short, where the baby's here, we're doing good. And the girl Amanda that I told you guys that I went to school that introduced me to the Roxy, she had lived in the apartment complex right down the street of where we moved in at.
$18.
Well, right. So Amanda, we were texting on MySpace then. She's like, oh my God, you had a baby. I live right down the street from you. And, I heard you were moving in this area. And I was like, wow, you live in the apartments right down the street from my house. So she wanted to see the baby. She also had a baby girl. So she wanted me to come over. So I had, while Raul was working, I, took the baby in the carriage, and baby was about a week old. So I took, brought her outside and went over to the apartment, and, Amanda was still using. So Amanda was like, you should just have a little sniff, and of course, peer pressure, and me already being an addict, not noticing that I was an addict then, because, I had given it up, it was only school days. So I went ahead and dibbled and dabbled. So it started becoming a problem, to where I'm asking Raul for money when he's going to work. He's wondering why he needs money. There's everything you need for the baby. Why do you need money? So that started becoming a problem. So, I started...
Say that you started damaging your relationship at home.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. So he was, started getting mad at me. Why are you going to that girl's house all the time? Are you cheating on me? He thought I was cheating on him. I said, no, I'm not cheating on you. Like, what are you doing? Is it drugs? I'm like, no, I'm not doing drugs. Why would I do that? Lies. And he hated when I would lie to him. So he, of course, started realizing, I'm starting to lose a little bit of weight. I'm not looking right. I'm sweating. Why are you sweating? Why aren't you not feeling? Sometimes I just wouldn't feel well, because I started getting addicted. I was always going to Amanda's house. Why do you want to go over there? So it started to become bad.
Mm-hmm. And you were probably neglecting the baby. You were neglecting him.
Right. Yeah. And he's like, I have to work, and of course the sister would always help me with the baby. So it was kind of like I had it was easy going, because of course we lived with the family. So they always, would help me with the baby. So it was kind of like, okay, here, watch the baby for a couple hours. I'm going to go to Amanda's house. Or it was always an excuse. So it started to get bad. And then my mom's in my ear telling me, how in the hell do you think you're going to take care of this baby at 17 years old with no education, with a Mexican illegal immigrant? How do you think this is going to work? So I got her in my ear, and, she loved the baby and everything, but she's just like, I don't think you could do this. So one morning...
But the funny thing is, everything was going well until you hooked back up with Amanda.
That's right. Absolutely. So, long story short...
Amanda is the one that introduced you to cocaine.
To the Roxys. And Raul was... and Raul and his friends were the one that introduced me to the cocaine, the alcohol. They had the pills.
So when did you first hit cocaine?
With Raul in school, when I was skipping school and stuff. And But he gave it up. He gave everything up. So he used to tell me, if I gave everything up for the baby, why can't you? Like, why can't you? So it started to become where he started finding out, I know you're doing something. You always need money. The baby's got everything. What do you need money for? It was always like, what do you need money for? Mm-hmm. And she's thinking it's a Mexican. What are you going to do with a Mexican? Right. So long story short, one morning I wake up and I hear his sister yelling outside. So I go open the door, I look outside, and the baby was sleeping. I come out and I said, they had spoke only Spanish. And the good thing about this is that I learned Spanish while living there, because I lived with them for 4 years, all together. So it took me 4 years to learn. I'm almost 19 years old. I've got my baby. The baby's almost, going on a year. year and a half almost now. So he's dealing with all of this. It was a bunch of bullshit. He couldn't deal with it anymore. So he had left me. He left. I look outside, the car's gone. And I'm like, well, where's the car? He wasn't going to work that day. So the family's like, Raul said he was leaving. He's gone. He's not coming back. Like, what do you mean he's not coming back? So he left me and his family's home with my child and no money. No more diapers. We're running out of diapers. And now I've got to find a job, obviously, right? How am I going to take care of my child? The family's not going to take care of me. So what am I going to do? So now I'm destitute, right? So, of course, I'm going to hear from my mom. See, I told you about this guy, blah, 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 blah. So I call her. She says, listen, I'm telling you right now, there's no way you can handle this. I will call an adoption agency. I'll set up an appointment and we'll get her into a good family. I can take care of her. And I said, no, I won't. I don't care if I have to work at McDonald's. I don't care if I have to walk to work. I'm not doing it. My mom says, Erin, please listen to me. I'm telling you, you won't be able to do this. Did I ever leave you without as a child? I said, no. And she says, well, what will you do if your child has no shoes and it's running with no diapers on it? No, you cannot do this. This isn't you. So I kept telling her, no, won't do it. She's already a year and a half. I've already had her for a year and a half. How am I just going to give her up? So my mom did as such. My mom made the appointment, and she picked me up at the house where I was staying, and she had tracked me down. Like, she tracked me down. My mom she don't play no shit. So my mom said, get in the car. I was like, I'm not getting in the car. She's like, I'm telling you, Erin, this is the right thing for you to do. You've got to do this. You have a whole life ahead of you. She'll be in a good place. She said an open adoption where I could pick the family and they would send pictures until she was 13. And when she's 18, they will tell her that she's adopted, and it's up to her if she wants to look for me or not. So the whole ride, I'm crying hysterically because I know I fucked everything up in my own mind. I know this was my fault. So we got to the adoption agency, and she slept the whole way. She was such a good baby the whole time. She's just a good baby. And so I took her out, and we went in the place. It was in Pinellas. It's right outside of where I lived. It's called what is it? A Wish of Life or something like that. Oh yeah, A Wish of Life. And it was a really, really nice place and everything. And I didn't know what to do. I was in a position where I was messed up on these pills. I had messed up my life. I messed up everything. I felt so horrible. Like, I just didn't know how to feel. I was so numb at the time. So we sit down and they put down a recording, because they record you, and they ask you, were you pushed into doing this? Like, did somebody make you do this? Like, is this your decision? And while I'm sitting there, my mom's kicking me under the seat. Like, wow. Like, don't say a word. So it took me a while to say anything, but I said no. And they went ahead with it. And I remember when they came in and they said, well, we're going to take her now. And the family that I chose was a family that lived in Pennsylvania. They had 5 cars. They had a 15-bedroom house. They had been waiting the longest to adopt. So I chose them. And they were going to be on a first plane ticket to pick my daughter up. And I would meet them at Starbucks. We met at Starbucks, which was right down the street in Paris. And I had brought baby books. They told me to bring anything that they would want my daughter to have so they can give it to her when she's 14, and they let her know that she was adopted. But she has to wait till she's 18 to look for me. So, yeah, that's how it went down. So I passed her over, and that was it. And that was it.
Jesus.
That was the last time I seen her.
How many years has it been right now?
She's 14 now.
Oh.
So they're probably going to tell her. She probably already knows, I think. But the picture stopped at 13. But I've got plenty of pictures of her. I'll try to find a picture so you guys can see what she looks like.
Oh, wow. She didn't have any other kids, no. Oh, wow. So she's 14. So you have a beautiful daughter out there that you haven't touched or kissed.
Right.
And Purple 51 in the comments, she said she's thinking about, are you thinking about putting a baby up for adoption, Purple 51?
Oh.
What happened to Raul? Have you spoken to him?
Yeah, he still contacts me to this day. He was
ill when he found out.
He was heartbroken. He actually, whenever he had left, like I told you guys, he came back 3 years later. He showed up at my mom's house and he knocked on the door. My mom was the one who answered the door. And he was like, "Where's my daughter?"
Oh, my God.
My mom said, "Aaron, come here." I went out there and I just dropped down on my knees and started crying. And I said, "She's gone." He said, "What do you mean she's gone?" I said, "I had to give her up for adoption. I didn't know where you were." And because he didn't have a social security number, they couldn't find him.
Oh, Miss Butterfly. Oh, my God. You got everyone in here. Are you addicted to Percocets, Purple 51?
Oh, so sorry.
Okay, so let's let you relax for a second. So what's happening, guys? We're gonna let Iris relax and contain herself for a second. But this is her story. Young girl, grew up in a middle class family. Everything was going great. Her father started cheating on her mother, and her mom basically packed them up and left New York and moved them to Florida. Once she got to Florida, she got into a different school. She was being bullied a little bit, and she started skipping school a lot. Her mom just started drinking and became a drunk. They were living with the grandmother as well, and things were hard. The money wasn't the same. The living space wasn't the same. Taking showers were even a problem. But while she was at this first public school, she started skipping school to be with friends, particularly boys. And she started getting attention from guys. And one day she came home. Her mom found out she was skipping school, pulled her up by her hair, smacked her around. And from that moment, oh, look at her.
That's her.
Oh, look at her. Oh my God, look at that princess. Oh, look at that little thing. Look at her.
She's living her best life.
Oh, happy. Look at her. At least they kept their promise and gave you. Oh. Look at her learning how to swim.
Mm-hmm. She loves to sing. She speaks 3 languages.
Oh.
Spanish.
God blessed you, because guess what? Imagine this. Before you let her go, you were on, how many drugs were you on before you let her go?
Oh, more than I can think of, to be honest.
Okay. So imagine you keeping her.
Right.
And maybe being in one of those trap houses, high,
Right.
And you wake up, she could have been gone, or the police could have raided the place. She could have been forced in some type of foster. You know what I mean?
Right. She could have been. That's what my mom kept saying. What if they take your child because of what you're doing, and you haven't even lived your life yet. You're so used to roaming the streets and giving
remember,
school.
you went to prison. So over the last 14 years, you've been to prison how many times?
Yep, 3 times.
How many times in jail?
26.
Where do you think your daughter would have ended up?
Right.
Maybe like you, maybe on drugs right now.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So after I had given her up, I just started spiraling like real bad, to where Raul was gone. Like I said, he came back 3 years later. So when I moved in with my mom 3 years later, he comes back and he tells me he wants to be back with me. I'll take you to Lakeland. He was in Lakeland the whole time, which is 2 hours away from me. And he's like, come with me, we can start over, and, help him and try to make it to where it's like, oh, we could just start over again, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't. So, what happened after I seen him, I had moved back out with my mom, just tried to get me help, keep me sober. So I had relapsed after I seen him, and I went to the girls that lived down the road in Amanda's house. I first went to Amanda's house, and then I met up with the 2 girls that lived down the street from me.
Good old Amanda.
Yeah. So they were like, girl, we ain't seen you in forever. How you been? I told them about the story. They was like, girl, just come hang out with us. You know where we used to hang out? We actually hang out almost in the same spot. You can come hang out with us. So, we went hang out with these other Mexican guys, which were part of the same crew from back in the day. So they had all the shit. So I just started going back on drugs, and it just got bad. It got real bad. So I just became a drug addict, and there were times where I didn't shower. There were times where, my mom wouldn't take me back in because I left her house and told her pretty much, fuck you. So, Florida.
So now you're homeless, basically.
Right. So I started prostituting because I couldn't make any money. So I started prostituting. And this girl, Trish and Chris, they did the same thing. So, of course, they introduced me to that. So now I'm prostituting, living from hotel to hotel. I'm high up all hours of the night. I'm doing crack. It went from coke to crack. Now I'm smoking crack. I'm up all night. And all I could think of, I couldn't get the thought of me handing over my child. That thought never got out of my head. Like, it was just stuck for the longest time.
That worked you.
Yeah, it just broke me. Yeah, that moment right there broke me. So, it was horrible, and especially living in Pasco County, which is where I live. It's a bad area. It's like they call it the black hole. It's like a black hole. There's a lot of drug addicts here. So now I'm 18 years old. I'm prostituting. I'm walking the streets. I had got into a car, but it was an undercover, so it was a sting. So I got arrested. It was the first time I got arrested. 18 years old. I got arrested for prostitution. So now I'm in jail, and who do I call? My mom.
Your mom.
Okay. So I'm like, Mom, I'm in jail. It's $100 to get me out. My mom says, if it was a penny, I wouldn't get you out. So now I'm stuck. And you better get your life together. I don't know what you're doing, but I raised you better than this. I moved to Florida to give us a better life and get you away from, your father, because, my father was cheating on my mom and had a whole other family that I didn't know about. And, he was never with us. He was with his other family. And it was her best friend from high school. So it was, something that she never got over herself. And she didn't notice all the pain that she put me through. She didn't think she was putting me through pain, but she did. So that plus losing my daughter. And now I've held a grudge against her because how could she do that to me? That's how I felt. But how could my own mother tell me to give my own child away? Like, I never got over it. I never got over that. So, now I'm in and out of jail. So then I got out of jail after doing 3 months. I get back out. Now I'm back on the streets because I didn't want to go back to my mom. So now it's just...
But at this point, you're clean.
Right, I'm clean. Right, I was clean. But I didn't want a better life. I just didn't. I just was like, you know what?
You weren't ready.
I wasn't ready. So now I was calling my dad, my real dad. Remember, I told you I was calling him every year for from 16 to 22. I'm trying to call him every year for my birthday. I'm like, hey, I told him he was a grandfather. Then I told him, I just got out of jail. Dad, I'd really like to talk to you. He calls me back. I tell him so we moved from when I was 12, almost 13 to Florida. So I'm 22. You do the math.
Wow.
So that many years, and he finally calls me back. Finally. And he's like, I don't know what your mother told you, but it's a lie. I've been trying to talk to you for years, but she wouldn't allow me.
Don't you dare say that.
I swear. So now I'm like, wow, what the fuck? So she lied to me? So he's like, yeah, she lied to you. I've been trying to contact you kids. And I'm like, oh my God.
So what number were you calling, Irish? Well, what number were you calling?
I had a cell phone. I had a cell phone at the time. And when I had gotten out of jail, it was still on. It was still on because I had this sugar daddy.
Over the years, what number were you calling that he wasn't calling you back?
Well, it was my house phone at first, right? And we've had the same number. Remember, we've lived in the same house, my mother's house. So he couldn't call my mom's house. Like, there was no way. Because he said,
so you were calling him from your mom's house and he would call back and he would hang up.
Yes. Right. So he told me, he says, I've been trying to call you, but she wouldn't allow me to talk to you. Mm-hmm. And then the number that I had before that, I went to jail, so they shut it off. So then when I got out of jail that time, it was still on because I had this sugar daddy guy that I met in the streets. He was paying my phone bill. So he's like, I feel so bad for you. The one thing you can have is a phone, for God's sake. So no matter what, he always kept that phone on. And he kept it on for 5 years.
Wow.
I still talk to him to this day. And he wanted a better life for me. He met me in the streets. And he always told me he never wanted sex. He never wanted anything. He said, listen, I know you can get a better life. I know you can do this.
Thank you, Jesus. That was your angel, girl.
And he still is my guardian angel to this day. He still talks to me. He's so proud of me. He picks me up and takes me to pain management because I'm in pain management now. But I'm on a low dose of methadone because I had that surgery. So instead of pills...
We'll get to that. But real quick, before we get to that, Dad finally calls you back.
Right. Finally calls me back.
Mom has been keeping a wall up between you guys.
Kept a wall. And so he says, well, I've been trying, contacting him. I was like, well, how could she lie to me? He's like, look, she just would not let me talk to you. So tell me what's going on with you. And I said, look, I've had a rough life. Like, I started getting on drugs and I've been in and out of jail. He's like, let me send you some money. And that was the bad thing to do, right? Because now I'm out of jail. I'm not ready to get right. So he sends me like $1,000, or no, he sent me $1,200, right? So I went to Western Union, got the money, and the same guy that I talked to, he was the one that took me to Western Union. He went to get me a room. We went and got a room for a week. And he said, I'm going to try to get you into a place where, we can pay monthly. I'll help pay. We're going to try to get you a job. He wanted always for me that was my guardian angel, right? So I take this $1,200 and he's like, well, give it to me. And I was like, no, I can hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I stupidly got fucked up, met up with this guy on the streets that was a crackhead. He told me that he wanted crack. He said, take my car. I don't feel like driving. Take my car and go pick it up.
Oh.
So I take his car, have no license. I take his car. So now I'm taking his car to the crack house. I get the crack and I get pills because he's like, I know you like your pills. So you get my crack and you get whatever you want. So now I've got my money. He gave me his money. He also gave me his bank card because I had to take the money out of the bank. So now I've got his bank card. I've got his car. And now I'm going to take money out from his card. So I go to the bank. I take the money out. Now I'm going to the crack house. I'm getting my pills, getting my crack for him. And of course I was going to smoke it too because I like to do it at that time. So I'm on my way back. But while I'm on my way back, I stop at a store. And I seen this guy. He's like, hey, how you doing? He's like, is that your whip? I'm like, no. But he's like, can I get a ride? I give him a ride. He gets in the car. I took a hit before I had reversed out. Because I had already had the crack and stuff. I already had the drugs. So I should have never picked this guy up. Okay? Because I just stopped at the store to get cigarettes. The guy needed a ride. So me being the nice person I am and so gullible, I'm like, yeah, come on, I'll give you a ride. Now I've got drugs on me, and I also got this guy in my car. So long story short, I'm reversing out, and I hit, because I just took a hit, right? So I'm reversing out. So while I'm reversing, I hit a person in the parking lot. So what do? I drive off. They start following me. Next thing you know, right down the street, there was a cop sitting. They whip up behind me. So now I'm like, fuck that. I'm out of here. Like, I thought I could get away. My dumb ass. So I push the fucking pedal to the metal, and there's a bunch of stop signs down this road. I'm going through every stop sign, not giving a fuck. The guy in the fucking passenger seat jumps out of the fucking car. Then finally I had to pull over, and while I'm pulling over, I'm trying to eat half the drugs, eating the pills, trying to, not get caught with the shit. And so they have their drugs, their fucking guns drawn. They're like, get out of the car, get out of the car. So now I got my hands up, and when the cop come up to the window, the first thing I said is, I've got a crack pipe in my bra. That's all I've got, like that, like a dumbass. So, of course, they bring me out. They check me. All I had was like a 20 rock on me, and I had a crack pipe, and I had 2 pills. Stupidly, I didn't eat all of them because I was afraid to overdose. I didn't want to eat all of them. I had 4 of them. So I was so high, I didn't even know how many I had at the time anyway. So now I'm going back to jail. And I had just literally got out of jail. So now I'm going back. And when I got out of jail, they put me on probation. So I was on probation. So now I violated probation. I got 4 new charges. And now I'm fucked, right? There's no way somebody's going to get me out.
Going down, down, down.
Going down like the Titanic. So I go to first appearance. They set my bond for $10,000. I hit and ran. I was driving without a license, possession of cocaine, possession of paraphernalia, leaving the scene of an accident. So I got all these fucking charges. So did I hear HIV or did I? Yeah, you definitely didn't hear HIV. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
Just charges.
Yeah, so just charges. I'm talking about charges. So now I got all these charges. So I'm like, damn, now I'm locked up. So now I'm locked up in jail, and I'm like, well, who do I call? My mom. For some reason, I always call my mom because, I want to know.
Mom, yeah.
It's my mom. So she's like, Aaron, I just don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know why you can't see that you're better than this. And I'm like, well, I go back to, I don't want to hear about that. You're, she's in a good place. She's living wonderfully. And I got pictures here that you haven't even seen because I'm too busy roaming the streets. So she's like, I'm going to send you pictures so you could see your daughter. Maybe that will help you. So she sends me pictures of her, and I finally get the pictures. I was waiting for these pictures. I finally get them. And I just couldn't believe how beautiful she was. I was crying. And I think my mom was just hoping that maybe this would be like the last time that I would get locked up, and this would be the last time that she's, going to get in trouble. So long story short, they sentenced me to a year in prison. So now I'm going to prison because I violated probation. And I had pills on me. So I was lucky to get a year. So I got a year in prison, but I'm going to be sentenced as a youthful offender because I wasn't 21 yet. So now I'm going to be a YO in prison, and a YO in Florida is boot camp. So you have to march and do all that stuff. So I'm in boot camp. So I'm waiting to be sent, go to prison. I go to prison, and, thank God, I've never gotten any STDs, never got anything.
Thank you, Jesus.
So, yeah, until I recently had that surgery, but we'll get there. So, mind you, I've already been in and out since now I'm 21. So the judge is like, we're just going to send her to prison. Maybe then she'll learn. So I did my prison stint. I had parole. They sentenced me to parole for the last 3 months of my sentence. Sometimes they do that for people that have drug charges because they want you to kind of have stability when you get out, so you have someone to see, and, you're not just roaming free, so they kind of want to see you, get right. So I had parole, and of course I violated it because I got out. I was doing well, but then I stupidly did a pill right before the drug test, and it came up bad. So now I've got to go back to prison. So now I'm back to jail. I only have to go to prison for 3 months. They will send you back for 3 months because it's parole. So here in Florida, if you go back, they'll send you back for 2 weeks. They don't care. DOC is DOC. So now I'm going back for the second time, right? I've already been locked up. Now I'm going back to prison, so that's the second time. So I do that. I get out, and now I'm almost 23 years old at this time, and so my mom's like, look, when you get out, I'm going to put you into a rehab. I think you need more stability. I'm like, I've already been locked up. Why do I need to go to rehab? So I go to a rehab. It was a nice facility in it was in Sarasota. I went to Sarasota, and it was called First Step. I went to First Step, and it was a really nice place, and I got kicked out for a bad attitude, and it was 2 days before my mother's birthday. They literally for a bad attitude, but I didn't think I had a bad attitude, but now that I look back at it, I definitely did. So I had gotten kicked out, so there was somebody that picked me up on the side of the road and took me back to Pasco, which is about an hour away. And my mom wouldn't let me back home because I got kicked out of the rehab. So there's no coming home. There's no doing drugs at her house. If you want to live the street life, you're going to do it outside my house. That was my mom's rule, always. So once again, I fucked up. So now I'm back on the streets. And now I'm hanging out with the same people. I went back to the same hood that I usually go to. And I didn't last long. So now I go back to jail. So this is just a cycle. In and out.
Yeah, just a cycle. Yeah. All right, so let's move forward. So now, last prison sentence, how long was it?
18 months.
Okay. All the while, you got these beautiful pictures of your daughter. When you first saw your daughter on the photos, how did you feel?
Well, I felt happy that she looked so happy. These were the last pictures that I showed you guys. But she was just a little, she was only, 2 and 3 at this time. So I was like, man, and then I'm just, those were the only pictures that I'd seen. And my mother didn't want to show me anymore because she was like, obviously you haven't learned anything, but she would always tell me about the letters and how she was doing. And, My mom started visiting me in the last stint in prison. She started visiting me. She's like, I want you to come home. I want this to be the last time. I want you to have a better life. I don't want you to live.
So mom started visiting you on the last prison sentence?
Yes, for the last...
Oh, wow. Why this breakthrough?
This breakthrough. I think it's because she started noticing this horrible spiral, and I feel that, she had told me she stopped drinking. So I think that might have been the breakthrough. She was probably just came to her senses, like, my daughter needs me. Fuck this alcohol. And my grandmother had died while I was in prison. So that right there, one thing my grandmother always told her is, you don't need that beer. Remember, I told you guys, she said that, earlier in the story. My grandmother never, she always told my mom, you don't need that beer. You need to let that beer go. So that's what she did. And so I missed the funeral and everything. So I just pretty much came to my senses. Now I'm 26 years old. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. So, right. So I got out, and I was doing well for a little while. I hate to say this, but I went back to the hood, and I was introduced to heroin. Now we're going to get to the heroin part. So now I'm introduced to heroin. The pills are gone because pills were really done. They were very expensive, and now people have moved on to heroin. So I was introduced to heroin. So I did the heroin.
What year was this? What year?
Well, I was 26, so I'm 31 now.
Mm-hmm. Long ago?
Yeah, not too long ago. So I did the... Yeah, and it was just a bunch of people hanging out, and I did the heroin. And so I overdosed, and they had left me on the side of the road. And they tried to bring me back to life, and they did, thank God, because I'm still here, of course. So I wake up in the hospital, and I can't hear anything, and I'm tied down to a hospital bed, and I'm like, all I could think is I'm so thirsty. I kept telling these nurses and stuff, I'm thirsty. I'm like telling them, like, I'm thirsty. I'm moving my hand. And they had brought me over water and stuff, and they were trying to explain what happened to me and stuff. And so, thank you, Leah. So, long story short, that I overdosed because it was just too much. These people were dumb. They didn't know that I had just got out of jail. They really didn't care because they wanted money anyway. So I guess I just wanted to feel that high again. I don't know. It's insanity. I can't really, that's just the cycle of addiction. So I overdosed, and that was the start of the heroin for me. So I had gotten out of the hospital, and I had met up with these two guys. It's crazy. Met up with these two guys. I was walking back from the hospital because my mom didn't want me back unless I went back into rehab. She's like, you need to finish. My mom wanted me to finish a program. She thought it would be good for me. She really wanted me to. She was very adamant on that. So I was like, I guess I wasn't ready still. Just the enemy was inside my head. I don't know. It's just the devil. So I'm walking back, and there's these two guys, and they were looking for this girl named Brittany. I'm like, I'm not Brittany, but I could chill. And mind you, I'm just really fresh out of prison still. So I'm like, I guess I just wanted to live the crazy life still, just get a couple more doses of it, right? So then I go with these guys, I get in the car. Yep, I get in the car. There was a girl in the back seat with me. I'll never forget. I don't know what her name is or who she was, but I just remember there was a girl. So we get to this hotel, and that's all I remember. Then I wake up back in the hospital. This is not even 24 hours of what just happened to me from overdosing. So now I wake up in the hospital, and they've told me that the nurse, or not the nurse, the people that work at the hotel had found me blue on the floor face down. And they had called the ambulance. Once again, yeah. So it's just like, I think it was, and I'm going to tell you after this, but I think it was God telling me, like, this isn't you. Like, this is not meant for you. This isn't, this life here is just going to destroy you. So I'm in the hospital. I wake up. So they did a rape kit and everything else. And they said that the people that had it was an officer that knew me from being in and out of the streets. He was like, look, he knew me by first name. He was like, I'm telling you right now, you're going to wind up dead. You don't have too many more chances. Like, you've already overdosed twice in not even 24 hours. And you're still alive. So the other girl, the girl that was with me, guys, she didn't make it. She died. So a woman died. The woman that I was with died, and I was alive.
The woman that was in the back seat died?
Yes. Yes, she died. So it was both of us. The woman that you had just met, she died? Yes. She passed away. She passed away. So I'm hysterically crying. I'm like, why? Like, why couldn't that be me? Like,
oh, Jesus.
Why couldn't that be me? Like, so I knew from then on, I got to make a change. Something's got to change. And so from that moment on, I just said to myself, no more. I called my mom. I told her she knew about the overdose because hospital already contacted her. She's like, I'm picking you up. You're going to stay in the room. I don't care if I've got to lock you in it. You know, she's like, Jimi Hendrix can do it. You can do it. Because, you know, my mom's old school. You know, he locked himself in a room and did it himself. So why can't you? You know, like, you can get help. You need to write a book. I know. So, I stayed off the drugs. I was doing great, doing good. I started working at Golden Corral. I was a cook. Never cooked a day in my life, but they taught me how to cook. And this lady seen something in me. And I started working for Golden Corral. I became a chef there. And I just started working. And I met up with a guy. Remember this guy, Don? That's his name. His name's Don. The sugar daddy that I met. Well, I called him a sugar daddy when I should have called him a fucking guardian angel. He's still in my life to this day. He was so happy to hear that I was living with my mom, and he would do anything to help me. He was taking me to work, back and forth to work. I was starting to make money. I got out of my mom's house. I had an apartment. So life is going well. And so, like I told you, after a year and a half, I had my apartment. I was doing so well, working and everything. And then Corona happened, like 2 years after that. So then Corona's here, right? So this was almost 2 years ago, like you guys know. So now Corona's here. Now Golden Corral is shut down. I don't have a job. So I'm on Facebook, and I see Bingo. And I'm like, oh, well, this is cool. So I download the app. And I just started going room to room like people do when they first get on the app. And I met this girl. Her name is China. She's a sweetheart. She's actually Ray J's cousin. And she's a doll. Her name is China the doll on here. She's just amazing. She was like, girl, I was just kind of telling her in the midst of like what kind of happened to me in my past and stuff. Just, it's like, you know, I want to be a motivational speaker. I want to counsel other women. Like, that was always like my dream, because I know what I went through with my daughter, and, you know, with addiction, and, you know, being out of jail, being out of prison. I felt like I could do that. Like, I could make a change on the app, or, you know, be inspirational. So she's like, girl, she's like, I love your attitude. You guys,
hold on for just a second.
Yeah.
When did you take your last hit?
August 21st, 2000 and, well, it's 4 years ago, I'm sorry, 2016.
And what happened that day?
That day was the day that they had shot me up with meth and heroin, and then I had overdosed. Remember that the last overdose, that was the last day. That was August 21st.
So 2 overdoses within 24 hours.
Right. And that was the last time I used. Jesus. So sharp. I know. All
right. So last day you used, you were cleaning yourself up. Your mom is right there with you, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So now you're living back with mom.
Yep. And then I started working at Golden Corral.
Mm-hmm. And then Golden Corral.
Yep. Then got an apartment.
Okay. You got an apartment. Okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah, got an apartment, and it was a cute little place. It was just a 1-bedroom, and it was like, I was paying weekly. It was like $160 a week. or something like that. It was really cheap, and I don't really know because Don pretty much took it over for me. Like, I would give him my money. He would show me how to save money and stuff like that. He's my guardian angel. I swear it.
Wow.
And he's 77 years old, guys. He's 77. He's a church-going guy. He's got a wife of his own. He's got children, and he's just an amazing guy. His children love me. His dogs love me, and he's just, I was speedballing. I was, yes, definitely purple. And so, so life was good. And then, remember I told you I got on Bigo, met this girl, China the doll. She told me I had a good attitude. She's like, girl, you can make some money. Because I told her Golden Corral is shut down. I probably don't have a job anymore. How am I going to pay rent at the place I'm living? She's like, girl, you can make money. She explained the whole thing on Bigo, how you can make money and stuff. I got a good agency. Thank God I got in a good agency. Never got in a good family in the beginning. But I got in a wonderful agency, thank God. Shout out to dead presidents. But it was good. So she got me an audition, started hosting, and then not even a month in, I had gotten sick. Like I told you guys, I started. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just gonna say, okay, guys. So this is her new life, and this is her transition, and it gets very emotional for her. Okay. All right. So go ahead.
So, I'm living great in the apartment. I just got on Bigo. Now I passed the audition. I invested some money. I'm thinking, I'm gonna keep working and keep this place, keep the life going. So one morning, I was gonna get up and do my hours, but I couldn't really get up. My back was hurting, and it was horrible, like bad, like really bad. So I was wondering what was going on, and I didn't think anything of it. I'm just thinking it's back pain. So I'm in the bed. I'm sleeping all the time. Don's telling me, you're sleeping a lot. Like, what's going on with you? Wasn't holding anything down. And then like 2 weeks in dire pain, I tried to get up to use the bathroom. I finally made it to the bathroom, and I couldn't pee. I couldn't. So I knew it had to do something with my organs, like something's going on. So I called Don, my savior, and I said, Don, can you take me to the hospital? I need to go to the hospital now. This is getting out of hand. He says, all right. He's been telling me to go to the hospital anyway. So I get to the hospital, and because of COVID, he couldn't come in with me. So they wheeled me in on a wheelchair. I'm sitting there. They took me right back. They did a CT scan, all the blood work that they needed. I was in so much pain. Like, I was just asking, can I get something for this pain? I was like, they knew I was a drug addict from all the years in and out of the hospital with, overdoses and everything else. They all have record of that, so they know. So they knew I wasn't on drugs or anything. They knew that. So the doctor comes back in, and he tells me, you have a abscess in your spine and an abscess in your pelvis, and it's very bad. Your whole body is septic, so you could have died. You didn't come in. If you didn't come in when you did, you probably would have died overnight. So he says you need to have emergency surgery. We're going to send you to Clearwater. We're going to get you to a surgeon that can help you, because I was at an ER and they don't do those type of surgeries there. He says it's one of the best surgeons we have in the Tampa Bay area. And he's on call all the time. We've already spoken to him. You have pneumonia, you have a clot in your left lung, and you have a bone condition. It's called osteomyelitis. It's a very rare bone condition. You can get it from either having diabetes or from drug use, like intravenous. Like I told you guys, I was kind of messing with the needles and stuff. So
her past life caught up with her, y'all.
Yeah,
young girl. This is a young woman. She's only 31.
Yes. Only 31 years old.
She didn't get no diseases. She didn't get any diseases. She wasn't raped out there. None of that.
Nope. So that's what happened. So, I had to get transferred to Clearwater. They finally gave me some pain meds and it didn't even help with the pain because it was so bad, because the infection was taking over my body. So I got to the hospital. I had some wonderful nurses. The doctor came in, and like I told you guys earlier, I don't know if everybody was here earlier, but when this man came in, he's like 7'1". He's got these big hands, and he walks in and he tells me, I assure you that you're going to be okay, because I'm in tears. You know, I'm telling him, I don't know how this could happen. I haven't used it. It says this stayed dormant in your body. It hid for multiple years without you knowing. You've had this for a very long time.
Oh, God.
He said it took over. It took over everything. And so he says, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of bone that is in your spine. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to drain all the infection out. I'm going to have you go down and get also the abscess out of my pelvis. I had one in my pelvis as well, so they had to take that infection out too. That was kind of a minor surgery. I was awake for it, and I seen them doing everything. I think God pretty much told me, you're not out of the waters just yet. You know, I think God wanted me to see the worst side of life, and like the dead side of life, and the good side of life. Like you're not out of the waters just yet. This is going to be your testimony to tell people. I believe in that. I believe that happened for a reason.
Yes, Lord. She was septic. Her body was just contaminated. She did a lot of drug usage with needles, sharing needles. Just her body was contaminated, and this contamination stayed dormant. It hid from her for like 5 years. It hid in her body, just chilling in there. She goes to use the restroom one day, and she couldn't even pee. And what's the proper name for this?
Osteomyelitis, and it was an abscess in my spine and pelvic area.
An abscess on her spine. She could have been paralyzed in her pelvic area. Can you imagine the women that have infection all through their pelvic? That can easily turn the HPV into cancer.
Yes, absolutely. So he told me if I would have came in, I probably would have been dead. I probably would have died at home. And he said that this happened.
And I don't know if you guys are familiar with septic. It's basically your body is so contaminated from the inside that it'll actually recycle the contamination through your body until you die.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Infection on the inside. Absolutely. And because of all the drug use and the running in the streets and everything else, you know, the tap water, I mean, it was so bad that I was using toilet water at one moment in time. Whatever I could get, whatever type of water, rainwater. You know, when you're an addict, you don't care what type of water you're using. You don't care about that type of shit. You know, so I know God was on my side on this. I'm a walking testimony. Absolutely. A lot of toxins in water, tap water as well. You know, you don't think of that when you're in active addiction. You don't think of that type of stuff. You're just thinking of the next top.
Your first hit. Yeah, your next hit. You're thinking of the next hit. Yeah.
That's right.
She didn't have any previous hospital visits.
I didn't have.
Right. She's been on the streets her whole life.
Yeah. I didn't go to the hospital, and when I had access,
the hospital when she overdosed, and then they let her out.
Yeah, and then they let me out. They weren't checking for anything inside my body or anything like that. They didn't, you know.
And she had her baby like 10 years ago. Then it was 10 years ago. She had a pregnancy. That was her last like real female checkup.
Absolutely. So it wasn't, you know, it wasn't like something that you get checked up every other month. You know, this is something that stayed dormant. It hid. So no matter what, it was hiding. Probably couldn't find it anyway. So the doctor had explained that to me. So I went into...
You're draining the infection out of you? Were you able to see the infection coming through the tube?
Yes. Yeah, through the tubes and stuff. So that's what I was going to get to. The pelvis one I was awake for. So they had this big tube thing that they suck out all the infection, and so it was just all green and yellow, and it was disgusting. And they put what it's called is what is that called? They put a culture. They do a culture, and they make sure that the IV is going in right, and they make sure that everything's good. So when they do take it out, you know, they suck it all out. So, I mean, they had 4 big tubes.
Listen, in the comments say Jeremiah 29:11, For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Come on now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Amen. And I know for a fact that God wanted me to see this. Like, you're not out of the waters just yet. You're not just, God wanted me to tell this story. God wanted me to tell you guys this. God brought me to Bico. I really feel like that.
Yes, He did. I'm glad you came here tonight, because tonight, you guys, we were supposed to be bringing awareness to a young lady that kind of sort of scammed her on the app. But as we started talking, I said, wait a minute, we have to change channels right now. I think God brought you here to tell your story.
Mm-hmm.
We were supposed to be doing a little court case for y'all.
You're welcome, Pure.
And we switched. Okay, so they want to know now after they drained you, they want to know what happened with surgery and the drainage and the infection.
So after the infection was all out of my pelvis, they brought me right to emergency surgery. They even had signed, when you sign, like, if you die, who do you want to call? Like, I signed my death thing. Like, I've signed that, like, for real, like, I could have died. But he assured me that I would come out of this just fine and I would live a wonderful life. He assured me this. And he says, don't cry, because I was, I'm a big crier. I'm very emotional. So I went and I did the surgery. I came back to my little room, because I also had MRSA. So they had to keep me all by myself.
You had so much infection, girl.
I had so much infection that it took over my whole body. So they had to, pump me with antibiotics. And so they had explained to me that I could not leave the hospital after the surgery, that I would have to go to a nursing home to learn how to walk again, because they took a bone out of my spine as well as the area. So when the doctor came in after the surgery, he explained to me, when he cut me open, that the infection was pouring out, just pouring out. He said that like a boil, right? Like a boil, but an abscess. So it's way worse than a boil. So that was inside of my spinal cord. So that right there was making me where I couldn't walk, and then my organs were failing. I couldn't use the bathroom because I was septic. And that's where I could have lost my life, at home. So
all your organs shut down from the infection, and not only that, her spine was infected.
Yes, my spine.
Your spinal cord, the whole thing that keeps you mobile, her spine was infected.
Yes, ma'am. And what's so crazy is that I never knew. Yeah, I never knew how easy a little movement of tying your shoe or, moving sideways, that little movement was so hard for me to do after that surgery. So now they got me up to where I need to walk. I had to have physical therapy. And then because I had to have a PICC line that was pumping antibiotics after the infection, that's how bad it was. Even after taking the infection, all that stuff coming out of me and everything, I still had the MRSA and pneumonia as well, and I had a clot in my left lung. So I had to have. Oh
my God!
Yeah. So I had to have.
Let me stop here real quick. So infection on the spine. So that's a bone infection.
Right. And osteomyelitis. Right. It's a bone. Yes. And
then the abscess on your hip.
Mm-hmm.
If that could cause HPV, which turns into cancer, all in your womb.
Correct. Yeah,
then
MRSA.
she also had MRSA. That's blood.
I had to be alone because that's very contagious. So people had to wear gowns when they came in. It was very embarrassing. Absolutely.
That's blood, and that she could give that to anyone. That's worse than staph.
Absolutely.
And then her lungs were contaminated, and not only that, she had a blood clot in her lungs. If a blood clot travels the wrong way, it could have clogged her up, her esophagus, and she couldn't have breathed. She would have been done.
Gone. Absolutely. So with that being said, I was crying to the doctor. He's like, look, don't don't think of this as a bad thing. We're going to put a PICC line in so we can get you antibiotics. I've had to take antibiotics 3 times a day for 6 months. So that's how long I had to be on antibiotics, 6 solid months. I had to learn how to walk again. I was literally like a baby again, like a baby. I needed help. I needed physical therapy. And it was a long road ahead of me, a long road to recovery. Absolutely.
31 years old.
31 years old.
Lifetime.
Yeah.
Look
absolutely. So I went to a nursing home, and mind you, I don't have any medical insurance because, I don't have my child, obviously. So I don't have any medical insurance. And here in Florida, it's very hard to get medical insurance, very hard to get Medicaid, any type of assistance. It's very hard to get. So I had what it's called the hospital pays for it. It's like I forgot the name of it, but the hospital paid for me to go to a nursing home. It's like a grant. I got a grant to go to a nursing home for 6 months to get the antibiotics and everything. And when I went to the nursing home, I was the only 31-year-old girl that was there. There were other girls there that also had osteomyelitis, that were drug addicts, that didn't stay, and they would leave because they didn't want to stay. They weren't ready. And there were women there that I had met that I spoke to that stayed there. So this is why I'm saying I was meant to go there. God wanted me to go there. God wanted me to help the older people there. I did their nails. I cut their hair. I had a really nice, sweet lady that was my roommate. After the MRSA was gone, I had a really nice, sweet lady. It was my roommate. And it was like my new home for 6 months. So I had lost my apartment, and because I couldn't keep paying for it, and my mom apologized for everything and told me I could come home, and she would take care of me.
That is so beautiful. So your relationship with your mom got better.
Yeah, way better. Yep. So I still live with her to this day. It's been a year since that surgery. I walk perfectly. I could run now. I could tie my shoe. I could do all the things that I didn't think I could do.
Thank you, Nika. Lord, thank you, Jesus.
Baby. Yep. So God is so good.
So
God
today, guys, she is clean.
Yep.
She's healthy. And her mom said, come home. She told her daughter to come home to me.
Yes, Hazel, I'm still clean.
Can you imagine there's a lot of us that want to hear those words from our moms? Can y'all imagine a lot of us that want to hear those words from our mothers?
Yep, absolutely. And I'm still clean to this day. Like I said, it was August 21st was the last day, 2016, that I had used any type of drug. Yep. And no love like a mother's love. That's right. And I turned my life around for the better. Absolutely. And you got to remember, I was clean. Remember, I was starting to work at Golden Corral. And then that pandemic happened. And all this time, I didn't know I had this infection in my spine. I didn't know. And then one day, that's what the doctor said. Just one day, it couldn't hide anymore. It had to get out.
It had to be released. She saw the infection come out, you guys.
Yes, she sure did.
Coming out through the tube.
My God. Absolutely. Sure did. Yes,
yep,
I made
that's her next thing, y'all, reuniting with her daughter. So now I'm going to allow you guys to come up and ask questions to this beautiful spirit. But a lot of you guys probably came in late. Young, beautiful girl. Moved from New York with her mom because her dad was cheating. Went to Florida. Mom became an alcoholic. They got into a smaller place. It was stressful. She went to high school. She was being bullied. From there, she started weed. From weed, she met this nice Latino gentleman that became her kid's father. He was a big dope dealer. He was doing drugs with her. He introduced her to cocaine. After they got clean because she got pregnant, her mom didn't want her back there. Her mom wanted her out. She moved into the house with their family. He stopped getting high. She stopped getting high. As soon as she had the baby, she hooked up with a girl that she used to get high with back in the day, Amanda. Amanda reintroduced her back to cocaine. Now she's in a great relationship with her kid's father, but she's on cocaine. He's going to work every day, paying all the bills, making sure the kids or the baby is okay. But she's asking for money every day. Give me money, because she needed to supply her drug habit. He kept asking her, what is wrong with you? And she continued to lie. After putting up with her so much, losing weight, neglecting the baby, neglecting him, she was sweating all the time. He drove off and left for 3 years, left her at his family's house with the baby, drove off. Her mother said, no, ma'am, you're not going to be able to take care of this baby. We're going to put this baby up for adoption. She fought her mom tooth and nail. Her mom called the first adoption agency, put that baby up for adoption. But the beauty of the adoption was she was able to choose the family. She chose a beautiful, well-off family in Pennsylvania. The family promised to send pictures. Her baby is gone. And even though she was still getting high, she never forgot about her daughter. She never forgot the moment she had to give her baby away. She never forgot the fact that her mom made her do it. So there was a lot of hate and resentment and abandonment there. And over the years, her drug habits just kept going from weed, cocaine, to pills, to now heroin, now prostitution, homelessness, jail, prison, jail, prison. Okay, she gets out, overdosed one day, 24 hours later, overdosed again. But this time, there was a young lady in the car with her when she overdosed the second time. She survived. Iris survived her overdose, but the young lady she just had met did not. That girl died. And that was the last day Iris took a hit of anything at 26 years old. Now today, she's 31. Over those years, she got a job. She has a guardian angel. He's a guy that's in the church with a wife and kids and pets. But his wife allows him to take care and help her as if she's their blessed project. He's her guardian angel. And no sex is involved with this gentleman, nothing. She met this guy along the way. He paid for her cell phone for years. No sex, just somebody just saw a woman broken, and he saw more than her than what she saw him herself. And he just continued to help her over the years and introduced her to his real family. She got a job. She got an apartment. The job closed. She lost her apartment. Then she finds out that she is sick as hell, all up and down through her body. And her mom stood by her through all of this. At the end, her mom cut her off several times throughout. Every time she went to prison, mom said, no, I'm not coming to get you. I'm not bailing you out, and you can't live here. And the mom wanted her to kick that addiction because the mom was addicted to alcohol for a while before she got her life together. So her mom saw herself in her daughter. And now today, her mom said, come home, come to me. And that's that.
Yep. Amen.
So, y'all, let's get it. So what we're going to do is bring you guys up, and you guys can actually say hi and ask her a question. So hit the join button if you have a question for the lovely Irish.
Yep.
Purple 51.
Hey, how you doing? How you both doing?
Good.
Okay, the thing I want to ask you, what did you do to get off of the drugs?
Well, to be honest with you, what happened was I had been in and out of jail. So what happened was I had to detox on my own. I was forced to detox.
So when you was in jail, they didn't give you anything to substitute that you was on drugs?
No, not here in Pasco. Now, if I would have went to Hillsborough,
how you did that. That's the most. That makes you feel like you want to die.
Thank you, Nika. Yes, it definitely does.
Thank you, Purple.
The throwing up, the sweat, and the withdrawal. See, me right now.
Purple, hold on. Wait. Purple. You have to ask a question, then you let her answer it. Right now,
Okay.
you're asking a question, then you cut her off. So you have to just ask the question and let her answer it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, that was all I really want to know. How did you get off? Because I know.
All right, so go ahead and let us know, Iris. All right, thank you, Purple.
Okay.
All right, she's going to answer it. Go ahead, Iris.
Okay, so another way that you can get off of it, I know that there's a girl, there's a lot of ways that you can get off of it. Suboxone, methadone. I know people that are still going to the methadone clinic. There's a lot of people that hate on it, but I know a woman that has been going for a couple years. They lowered her dose, and now she's at a low dose, and she's almost out of the clinic. She got her kids back, she got her job back, and everything like that. There's also Suboxone clinics that can wean you off of the opiate, if that helps you.
All right, I'm
praying for you, Purple. You're fine. I'm definitely praying for you, Purple. But if you really are adamant about getting off of it, I would seek those routes.
So, Purple, she still has an addiction, Purple? Are you still on the pills, Purple?
Yes, local plug, I do. So let me just explain real quick with that. So when I got the surgery, I had to be on pain pills, right? So instead of the pain pills, they put me into pain management, which is a clinic. So I'm on a very low dose. So
Beautiful.
Because of that surgery, I had to go into a methadone clinic. So yes, I am going to a
control
methadone.
that. They helped you out a lot.
Yeah, so they help you out with everything. I have a counselor that I speak to. I have multiple certificates. I have passed 95 drug tests altogether. So I have accomplished a lot. So yes, I am going to a methadone clinic for pain management.
All right, so let's ask Purple. So Purple, come up, Princess.
Yeah, come on up, Purple.
So Purple, how long have you had this addiction, baby?
For like, I could say 8 years now. And it's a problem. The thing is, see, I didn't know I was addicted until I had my first withdrawal. And that's because I was in a major car accident and it disabled my leg. My leg was not attached to my body. So I was taking them for pain. So when I stopped taking them because I didn't want to take them no more, so I just didn't take them. I didn't know that I was addicted.
So you stopped taking them, and then what happened?
I got real sick. I ended up in the emergency room, and then the doctor said that he was sorry because he prescribed them to me, but he didn't tell me that I would get addicted to it.
Yeah, they don't. They won't. Because they're making money.
I didn't know until I had to withdraw. I just put them up and then take them. Like 3 days later, I was sick as could be. I thought I had the flu or something, but it wasn't the flu. It was the pill.
Withdrawal. Right. So with that being said, with that being said, go ahead.
Hold on for 1 second, Irish. So what happened after that?
So right now, my leg, it's all right, everything. I don't need the pills no more too much for the pain, but now I have to take a couple of a day because I won't go through the withdrawal. Because I refuse, I'm not going through that withdrawal. That withdrawal make you feel like you want to die.
Right. So with that being said,
I tried it.
Right. Okay, so Purple.
Go ahead, Irish.
Yeah, so with that being said, what I would recommend, because what I recommend is what has worked for me, I would recommend you to go to a clinic. They will give you a counselor. Okay, and I'm guessing you have some type of Medicaid or Medicare that will pay for that, and they will get you to where you need to be. They'll start you off at a low dose, and then they will bring you down. They won't tell you where you are because it's more of a mind thing, but it is definitely more physical as well. So with that being said, you can definitely go ahead and go to one of those clinics. I would look it up as like a, in your area, a methadone clinic or a Suboxone clinic. Definitely. Absolutely.
We have Jay.
That's the safe way to do it.
Well, hold on. Let's get Jay. Jay was addicted as well.
Oh, Jay. Love Jay. Saved my life, see?
Come up.
Yes, Jay.
Jay, can you come up, my love? Jay, can you please come up? Do you mind? Okay. We got to help each other out, y'all. All right, Jay, so tell us about it. So what do you also recommend? Hey, Jay.
One moment.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize. One moment.
Nope, you're fine. You're fine. Hi, Jay. Welcome.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I'm on break at work. My bad. That's fine. But I'll just say quickly. So I started off with weed, marijuana, and then I started doing pills. Then it started going to me snorting Percocets. I got up to probably 10 30s a day. And it took probably 2 years for me to find the right solution. So what I will say to you, and number two is what saved my life was Suboxone. Suboxone. I would highly recommend it. You can't do cold turkey. You can do as many therapy sessions, but with pills, you have to have a methadone or something like a Suboxone to help treat it, because the withdrawals you go through is what causes you to go back to it.
Well,
because right now you're not even getting high off of it. You're just
I'm not
hoping
at all.
not feel the pain. You're just hoping you're not.
All
you're doing is trying to
I'm
get
going to
that
have to
pain
mute.
away.
Let Dave finish, y'all. Please.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No. I'm just saying, all you're doing now is just trying to help that pain so that you don't feel it. It's not even just mentally, like you said, it's just the physical of that's the worst part of it. So yeah, I would just say.
But hold on, but Miss Fat. Instead of you coming here and saying don't do it, you got to understand with their experience, box 1 and box 3, it's been successful for them. Just because it's not successful for your friend, we should not tell box 2 not to try it. It is successful for some people, sis. What I'm trying to do now here is offer her a solution, because we can't save the world, but there's people that's went through this in real life. So who better to tell them their experience, my love? But stick around and stay with us. So go ahead, Jay, finish up.
Yeah. So this is coming from someone. So when I was in my the peak of my abuse, I was working 2 jobs. I had a house. I thought I was doing everything right. But what happens is that you go to a crash, and that's what she's going through, is where you don't feel high no more. You just don't feel the pain. And then right now we're in a time where pills aren't as easy as they were 10 years ago. So the prices go up. So it's just overall, I'm just going to say real quick, you need to go to a Suboxone clinic. That's just what, it does cost, it's like $300 for your first visit. But just think of all the money you're spending on the pills. And I'm telling you, in a week, you will look back and feel so much better. It's totally changed my life. So I just wanted to say that to you. You're not alone, believe me. But the pain will go away. So just go find you the nearest clinic and definitely do that.
Yeah. Love you, Jay. I appreciate you, okay? Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. This is a great conversation. A very great conversation. I love it.
Thank you. All right, Iris. Now, I'm going to bring up someone that said that it didn't work for them. So remember, guys, both sides of the spectrum. Iris, go ahead and answer. I'm going to bring up Hazel. But before I bring up Hazel, I want you to answer this question for me, Iris. Is methadone and Suboxone the same, or are they similar? Are they?
They're similar. They're both opiate blockers. So at your local clinic, they'll either put you on either or, what's best for you and your past drug use.
Okay, can I say one thing? I have tried Suboxone, and what happened when I tried Suboxone? Somebody told I didn't know to break it off. I took it and I still had pills in my system.
That will put you in instant withdrawal. Yes, you gotta wait 24 to 48 hours. Yes. Yes,
so if you're not educated properly, you can hurt yourself even worse.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. Because I got really sick. Yeah. When I first got on pills, I took some pills and I was with some friends that I thought was my friends. When I fell out, they thought that I stopped breathing and I was gone. They said to take me outside and sit me in their backyard.
Right.
Thank God somebody came and bam and got me.
Oh my God. Yeah, so please be careful.
Someone right.
Iris. Let her finish, princess. Okay, so let me explain something to y'all. Whenever I have an interview, I have to listen. We have to listen so we can get the whole story. I'll sit and listen to you guys for 25 minutes before I say one word. It takes training, but we have to do that as women so that we can get the story. We can get the story, and then we can know how to rebuttal the story. A lot of us just want someone to listen to us because we don't have that in our real lives. So the more you listen, the more wise you will become in life, you know? And it feels good to just hear the whole story. So let's give Purple that opportunity because she wants to be heard. If you didn't notice in the comments, she's one that's never really told her story. She's been closed in. Right, Purple?
Yes, I have.
That's what I read. So let's just give her, go ahead, Purple. I'm going to give you the ear. And then I got you, Iris. You are leading this panel. This is your discussion, Iris. But let's listen to the lovely Purple 51 first. Go ahead, babe.
Okay, and another thing, when I first got on pills, what happened? I called myself with a man that I thought that cared about me. And he took me to his friend's house. He went to the store. And I'm on pills. This all happened because of the pills. He left and went to the store and left me there with the men. Do you know, they raped me. I got raped 3 times in a row for that. Yes.
Wait, when did this happen?
This happened like around about, I say, like 5 years ago.
So, Purple, when he left you, were you high? What? Wait, I'm confused. 3 men.
I was high.
So where did he go? You guys went to the store, and where did he go?
He never came back. After what happened, I left and walked all the way, tried to walk all the way home. Because I was delusional still. Yeah.
Purple, where is that? Do you think that man set you up?
Yeah, he did. That's why I tell you, if I can help one child, somebody, just leave them alone. The pills, y'all, just leave them alone.
This is, it's just, see, when I think about women that are on drugs, I feel as though you guys, women are strong. We are very strong, right? When it's something that in our head that we think we are controlling. In order for you to take a drug, put a pill in your mouth, you are in control. You're looking at that pill. You know the damage it can cause, but yet you have the control to lift it or leave it there. But when a man rapes us, or when a man set us up, get us so high, and allow other men to just rape us, we are no longer in control. That gets me really angry.
I don't know what else to say now. But, I just...
Purple, do you know the man that raped you? Do you know the man that raped you?
No. No.
How long were you dating the gentleman that took you to the store with these guys?
Probably like a year.
Did you feel that he was tired of you? What happened, baby?
No, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. It was just, I was high. I was up them stairs over there. He went to the store. I thought, because the store was nothing but across the street. So I'm thinking he coming right back. He ain't came back. He gone. I ended up walking home. It was like, just say, 3 o'clock in the morning, walking down the street.
Was he getting high too?
Was he? No.
Sis, what happened?
I don't know. He set me up. I don't know if they gave him some money for me. I don't know, because he probably got some money for me. Just to honestly tell the truth.
But was he one that was like he wasn't on drugs, so why would he take money from men to give the lady that I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I was sitting over there waiting for him to come back from the store and dozed off. Like when I dozed off, I felt one man, and then all of a sudden I felt another man. Like another one just pushed me down. Like they was like just holding me down.
Did he ever come back home?
No, and I never talked to him. No, he called the house like 2 times after then that I never talked to him about it because I really didn't want to tell nobody then. I was kind of feeling embarrassed about it because I felt like it was kind of like my fault a little bit because I felt like I should have never went up those stairs. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have wore the dress. I don't know.
Isn't it such a shame, Iris, that when men victimize us, it's our fault?
Yes.
In our head, it's our fault.
Yep.
You were with somebody that loved you. You've been with this man for a year. There was trust there, girl.
He didn't love me. Obviously, he did not. Because love didn't hurt. I know it did not hurt.
But it was not your fault.
That's right.
And you never called the police?
No. It was embarrassing to me.
Right.
And I felt ashamed. Who gonna tell somebody that?
Right.
See, that's why awareness is important, Purple, because we need to know that being raped is not ashamed. These men brutally rape you. There's no need for you to be ashamed. There's no need. We got to stand up, mama, and we got to report these suckers, because guess what? Now those 3 men, they get to do it to somebody else.
The house burnt down over there now, though.
But they still are out there. They get to do it to somebody else. We gotta report these men.
I can't even kind of remember how they even really kind of look.
It's okay if you don't remember, but what I'm saying in the future, my love, don't you ever, ever, ever feel as being raped is your fault. Stand up and you report their asses.
For the next woman out there. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I know,
Call me on 3.
I went through a little counseling and stuff, and little thing, it kind of helped me a little bit, but yeah, it's just,
All I can say to you, my love, my sweetie, it's not your fault. And I would really encourage you because, like Empress said, for the people in the comments that aren't addicts and no other addicts, I go to the clinic now and I know people that are still actively drinking and not using opiates because, like I said, it's an opiate blocker. So those type of people, they don't want the help. It's kind of just like a free way to get out. So with that being said, my love, you need to go to a clinic near you where you can get some counseling and talk to a doctor, and they'll get you to where you need to be. And that's what I can say, because you know what? I'm going to talk about what's worked for me. I can't speak for everybody else. Yeah. Like I said, it's a lot of controversy on the Suboxone and the methadone, but I can assure you it has worked for millions of people out there.
Yeah. It's just that when I took it, I think I still have opiate in my system. You know what I'm saying? And I mixed them both together.
Right. So the methadone would you only have to be detoxing. So it's the first 24 hours. So you have to be completely a 24-hour. They're going to take your blood pressure. So once they'll know by your blood pressure, they'll know by your symptoms and stuff like that. So all you really need to do is just kind of hold on for those 24 hours, my love, and they will put you to where you need to be. And that's a fact. Those are there to help. And I'm so happy that this turned the way it was, for me to tell my story, because I have been telling people, I wanted a bigger audience to hear this, because, I want to give as much awareness as possible to those that are still sick and suffering, because there's a lot of people on this app that don't want to speak out. They don't want to say, hey, you know what? I'm addicted to something. Everybody's addicted to something. If it's food, sex, whatever the case may be. It might not just be opiates. It might not be cocaine. It might not be alcohol. It's anything. Addiction is addiction, period.
Yes, right. It is.
Hey, Robert. So, yes, so I could definitely encourage you to seek a methadone or a Suboxone clinic. And like somebody said in the comments, it's free with Medicaid. It sure is, because there's so many people out there sick and suffering. So what happens is the government will pay for something like that. So,
but take it properly. Suboxones do work.
They will dose you there. They won't give you a bottle of it. They will dose you there. At a clinic, they will dose you there. Now, if you go to an outside doctor, like Jay was talking about, I'm sure he has a couple years sober, where he goes to an outside doctor, that's a total different situation. But I can only speak for myself. So like I said, you could definitely go to a clinic where they will dose you. And what's good about it is, once you're there for a few years, like myself, they will give you take homes, and they drug test you randomly to make sure that you're doing the right thing. They'll give you a certificate. They encourage you to go to AA and NA meetings. I have a sponsor that's been my sponsor for almost 4 years now, and she's amazing. So it's not right. It's about the clinical therapy. Exactly. It's not even about the dosing. It's about the therapy. It's about having someone there to talk to.
Okay. Well, thank you for the information. I thank you very much. I thank you for letting me come up here and tell my story.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You're an inspiration. Keep telling your story. Keep telling your story. And, and this is the sad part about, people that have been in accidents, because it wasn't your fault. You needed the pain medication because you were in pain, but the doctors don't tell you that this could potentially give you, this could potentially be an addiction for a long period of time. So they don't tell you that.
Yeah, because when you know how you just like, I just didn't take it. I just threw it to the side. But when I didn't know, I thought I had the flu or something.
Right.
You know, I had to go to the hospital and they had to put the medicine in my system from the hospital.
Yeah. And there's a lot of scrutiny. Like I said, there's a lot of scrutiny against, you know, these doctors and, you know, hospitals and the doctors that put you on it, and they don't tell you the side effects and what could potentially happen long term to you. That's right. We're rooting for you. Like Nicole said, we're rooting for you, baby girl. Maybe this was meant for you to hear. This was meant for you to hear.
And I thank you all. Okay, I'm finna get down. You know, but I want to tell Empress thanks a whole lot.
Oh, definitely. If you want to wait for you. Gotcha, Robert. Yes, blessings to you, right? I appreciate you guys listening tonight. I really do. This really, really helped me a lot, because this is something that I strive for every day. I try to give awareness to everybody and to, you know, help tell my story, because there are some people out there that need to hear something like this. Might have a friend or a sister that are going through the same thing. I can't tell you how many people I have lost through this battle. I am fine.
Yeah.
So you guys had a conversation while I was out?
Yes, of course.
Yes, we did. And I just want to say thank you for letting me come up here and tell my story. And I thank you for the information that you gave me, because I'm sure I'll take that into consideration and go try to talk to somebody about that.
Please.
I'm just tired of
experience is the best teacher. I can bring the content, but I need people that have actually experienced it to teach you guys and educate. I learn more, and we all learned more.
Yes, we did.
Yes. We got to do this together. We have to.
Yeah, because, you know, it kind of make me feel a little better, too, a little good that I'm talking to someone about that.
That's right.
Because I have been holding that in for a long, long time.
Jesus.
There's only one other person to know about what happened. But, you know, it's you know, I ain't gonna lie, I was embarrassed.
Yeah. I was for a long time.
Yeah.
Yes, come back. Yes, come back. Definitely. Let us know.
Okay, see y'all and love y'all.
Thank you so much, my love.
Okay.
Who else has a question? Because this was good.
This was very good.
Oh, please come back and update us on your progress, Purple. That's what they want you to do in the comments. Anybody else have a question in regards to this? Oh, they'll love to support you along the way, Nikki. Oh,
yes.
That was beautiful.
I'm mad I'm late.
Oh, Pinky, though. We're recording. My sleeping princess is here, but she's recording it. So it will be on YouTube, on my EmpressParis channel. Questions for Iris. Yep. Anybody have any questions for Iris, please, in regards to anything, addiction or anything?
Yeah.
Getting her daughter back, or whatever. All right, we got Bunny Harper. Hey, Bunny. Hello. I'll get you down. Don't worry. Don't get nervous. I got you, Bunny. Don't get nervous. I got you, Mama. All right, we got you. All right, so if nobody else have any questions, this was a great, informative panel.
Yes, definitely.
There was a lot of love and hate for her and her mother. That was a mother and daughter component here. 2 mother and daughter components. The love and hate with her mom, and then the loss that she had with her young daughter that she had to give away. Also, there was a father and daughter component here. Relationship, drugs, prostitution, and then finding herself, hope, awareness, and then karma.
Absolutely.
And now she's teaching you ladies. Now there's an education piece.
That's right.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys listening to me tonight. It went for a different turn, but I feel like this was meant to be, Empress, definitely.
This was the one.
Special effects from the sepsis. To be honest with you, I don't, ever since the surgery, you know, it's funny because when I was in the hospital, I really slept on my back. I really could never sleep on my sides. So now I don't even sleep on my sides. I only sleep on my back with my legs up. I think it's hilarious. But any side effects, no, thank God. I thank God for that. But no pain, no discomfort. But I do need to go every 6 months. I need to get blood work done because there is a 45% chance that the infection can come back. So, but ever since then, my blood work has come back fine with no signs of infection. And God is good. Are you going to write a book? I should.
You should think about it. She should consider it.
Definitely. Oh, yeah, I definitely should. But I appreciate you guys tonight. Thank you, Empress. My love. Thank you so much.
Got you almost 5 shields. Isn't that great?
I know. That was amazing. Thank you so much. Especially for us hosts. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Love, I appreciate you for blessing my panel. Well, you woke me up and basically you made me stay. I was trying to work and be with you. I was like, I got to go find ours. But I appreciate you, my love, and thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a wonderful night. And don't forget, you're not alone, everybody.
We had a lovely one over here with us tonight, y'all. Now listen, I got these tacos. Let's go to y'all want me to go to Solo so we can get some tickets and all that. That was beautiful. Wasn't that beautiful? Because I'm hungry. That was absolutely gold. I love it. See? No, the eggs ain't gone. I still got like 10 eggs. That's what you want to see, Phoenix, the eggs. You know what, Phoenix? You need to stop. Y'all want to see another egg? I love it. I love you too, Zuri Bad. Yeah, Irish was amazing. I'm glad we did the story. Thank you. Welcome, Purple. I'm glad we did that. God called us to do that tonight. I'm telling you. Because we were supposed to do some stuff about somebody taking from her, but she had to give to y'all tonight. She had to bless you guys with her story. That's what was supposed to take place tonight. Yep. Addition is real and it's good. You are bringing awareness. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.